Hey, Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top team leaders, broker owners, and influencers in and around the real estate industry. We have an amazing guest today, and Mr. Orlando Ramirez. Orlando founded Zillow and Dotloop for Teams. He gets all the credit for everything successful that has come out of the Zillow and Dotloop organization. Orlando, thank you for coming on the show today. Hey!
Wow, it's a lot to live up to. Thanks.
He's actually the senior advisor of relations, I believe. I missed one word.
That works out. No, definitely the industry relations team for sure.
He's part of it. He does an amazing job. If you're ever at any big events with big hitters, Orlando's going to be there shaking your hand. He's really advocating for the Dotloop for Teams product. And we, as industry leaders and thought leaders as well, and associated with elite real estate systems, we really want to push it as well. It's been a game changer for us, and it can be a game changer for your team. So the next 20, 30 minutes, we'll ideate around that. And then we're going to recap my event a little bit. So Orlando, thank you for coming on the show today, man.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for inviting me. And that's a Dotloop. I will talk about the event immediately because I know you're going to recap that. We just,
if you're watching, I have the shirt on still. Haven't even taken it off.
Team buildings. I need one of those shirts, actually. Team Building Summit was just great. First of all, this is the first event since the pandemic, but getting to strategize with people in person again and have these awesome conversations and learn from each other. It was fantastic. And I mean, I said this to you a little bit earlier, one of my favorite things that you kept saying throughout the entire event is like, what's your problem? What are you trying to fix? What are you trying to solve for? And that's the world that I live in, man. Like, I want to know what's happening in your world, in this place and time where your business is at. What are you trying to solve for? And how can we potentially be a partner there? If we're not there right now, maybe we will be in the future. And so,
and you had a lot of experience, I know, before associating yourself to Dotloop and Zillow. You had worked in the Keller Williams world and helped build a few, if I remember correctly, market centers, over 100 you helped open all across the United States.
Funny. Yeah. I mean, thanks for bringing that up, because part of it, even prior to that, I was in restaurant franchising, right? So I was in franchising. So systems and models were so important. Wow. You think about how to streamline your business. And then I was recruited to Keller Williams Corporate. I was in Austin, Texas. And so I was part of the launch team where we opened market centers. So our goal was to launch you within 190 days to be profitable. So there was over 175 market centers during the growth phase of Keller Williams. So that was
profit in 190 days. Just in the restaurant industry, how long did people typically get told that they would need to wait until they were profitable?
Oh, that's a really good. It was 6 months to a year.
Yeah. And what was the reality? 5 years.
1 to 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
We had to define profitable because it was $1.
Exactly. We broke even, ladies and gentlemen. And that is actually good for most businesses in the first couple of years. So, well, awesome. Well, you know a lot on this topic. And yes, I did bring this up a lot. What pain point did each person have? And today, as people listen to this on their way to work or at the gym or wherever you are, you have a problem. The question is, have you identified it, and can we help solve it? And so as we enter into content in the way we communicate, both on this podcast and other podcasts and coaching at events, et cetera, we're going to answer different people's problems, and we're going to cover lots of content. The biggest challenge, I think, is twofold. One, recognizing the problem we have today, and two, being able to find an answer to that problem, but recognizing that there will be another one once we solve one. I think it's an Albert Einstein quote. For every problem solved creates 10 new problems. So Dotloop was a huge solution to the problem I had as I built and scaled. When you have 10 deals a year, 10 transactions, you can handle those on your own. You don't need to leverage those. Just take care of them. That's not very difficult. Go to 70 transactions. Now, if you do those, you're on your own. That's about 20 hours a week of your time dotting I's, crossing T's, and worrying about a lot of things that you could pay someone $15 an hour for. Now, if you go to 700 transactions a year, things start getting hairy. You go to 7,000 transactions a year. I'm not even there yet, and things start getting real wild. So we started partnering with you guys when we joined Berkshire Hathaway in 2015. Our team went from 70 to 700 sites in 6 years. I think to date, we're still the fastest growing residential real estate team in history across all brokerage brands. No one's contested it. If you can contest and win, you and or someone you know, residential real estate sites, not land, not trailers, actual house sales, I will give you a $100 gift card to the restaurant of your choice. Just message me on Instagram at Jeff M. Cohn. No one has contested up to this point. I think I've made that offer 4 or 5 times, but I want to keep saying it. No, I'm not lying and having people roll their eyes thinking I know someone who outsold them. let me know. 70 to 700 deals in 6 years. So we attribute some of that success to you guys, Orlando. We couldn't have done it without the amazing platform you have. So moving away from the team building summit and diving right into the Dotloop for Teams product. What the hell is Dotloop for Teams? What is that?
Awesome. Congratulations. Those are great numbers to hear. What I heard immediately was scalability. Scalability. In the very beginning, you said leverage. I like that term leverage a lot. And that's kind of what Dotloop is. And Dotloop for Teams is an additional platform that it's basically a broker platform. So if you're a team out there, you have this. I look at a team as the same as a broker. You're a broker within a brokerage, and you need to operate, think big. You're the business owner. You're the CEO of your company. And so going back to systems and models, if the core of your business is not set up and your foundation is not set up, it's not sustainable to grow from that 70 to 700 to 1,000, then you're behind, right? And so we have gotten feedback. So Dotloop didn't start off with a Teams platform.
It's just Dotloop.
It's just Dotloop, it was individual agents and broker. We quickly learned, teams needed their own dashboard. And so one of the things that we find out as the teams that you said, hey, maybe I'm your listing agent and I'm busy right now and I can't respond to something. You have an admin that can act in behalf of the agent. Just that one opportunity is one thing you can leverage from the team dashboard, but basically it allows you to become your own brokerage. And
absolutely. And let me jump in quickly and give the dummy version. So the big pain point we had as we launched the team in 11 was we have 5 or 6 agents who aren't turning in their paperwork and we don't have access to their Dotloop account. I don't know their login. The broker can go in and see what files aren't there. They can let us know what files aren't there, but I can't go take care of it for them. So this is the first great dysfunction I see when people scale is they don't have a contract to close process in place to help the agent spend their time in their higher income producing activities, which is prospecting, going on appointments and servicing the deal, not dotting I's and crossing T's. So Dotloop for Teams became the solution to allow real estate agents that are running teams to run those just like a brokerage would run them, in that they have access to that file. Now I own a brokerage. It's no different. The Dotloop product I'm using today to run the brokerage is literally Dotloop for Teams. Nothing changed. We have access to everyone's loops. We can go in and do all the contract to close. I think I have 4 full-time admin. And for those thinking, well, that's going to be too expensive, I can't afford that, we don't sell enough homes, I never spent a dime on admin. How did I cover it? I zero-based it by charging a broker transaction fee or a broker fee. There's different words for this in different states. It costs $600 every time someone buys a house with my team. I charge it to the agent. They charge it to the client. And then they pay $900 every time someone sells a house with our team. We charge that to the agent. They can charge that to their client through the commission. So it's in the purchase agreement. It's in the listing agreement, 600, 900. That helps offset the cost for Dotloop for Teams. That helps offset the cost, not zero-base the cost for the admin person. So every time we had a net revenue at the end of the year and it was greater than $40,000, I hired another transaction coordinator. And so we were up to 5 transaction coordinators as of about 3 months ago. And we're going to run about 3,000 transactions through our Dotloop for Teams product by the end of this year. So it's pretty exciting.
Great model. I love hearing that you've grown up to now 5 transaction coordinators. That's fantastic. And the coolest part is they can all leverage the platform, right? So they can all log into Dotloop as an admin and carry that business and have the best customer experience. Right? Because as you mentioned, the transaction part, your agents are out there selling, prospecting, marketing, whatever it is, but that transaction is being held internally. That's an added value that I'd want to join your team for. Right? That's part of the experience. And that's what I think about when we talk about teams, and I ask them, how does your transaction experience from the Jeff Cohn experience or the KW Elite experience, how does that translate into your transaction? Where does your model, your systems, your beliefs, your culture, how does that show up in that transaction experience? And, I love it. And you just take care of it.
Yep.
You just take care of it.
And there's interest. It's an interesting fact. There's 2 camps right now on how to handle the contract to close service. Obviously, there's 3. One is let the agent do it themselves. We all know how good of a job agents are going to do at it. I know a lot of agents that say no one can do it like I can. That's only because the people you're working with don't do a good job at it. If somebody's full-time jam is contract to close services, I promise you they will do a better job than you do. But you have to be with someone that has that system set up, or you need to set that system up on your own. And that's what KW Elite offers all of our agents and expansion partners. The 2 other arguments is when you create a contract to close process, and I want to ask you a follow-up to this, do you want a conveyor belt process where every day all 5 admin are working on all the files together? Or do you want to separate your admin team where each admin is assigned to a group of agents? And we've done it both ways. We actually just converted over to one admin assigned to 15 agents, 20 agents, something like that. And we find that that works a little bit better because every agent / team does things differently. And so they want to work with each individual admin to make sure that their contract to close paperwork is being treated the way that, is an extension to them and their team's culture and the way that they would want those files to be handled. But what have you seen as teams grow and brokerages grow? Is it usually like a conveyor belt where they're all working on the same files and maybe each person's in charge of a different part of contract to close, or are they assigned a grouping of agents?
I've seen a variety. I've seen a little bit of both. And it also depends on the size and how big your team is, right? So, you have 5 transaction coordinators, your experience is different. One thing that Dotloop does is there's templates, right? You can create the templated experience. So let's just say you're a team of 5 and it is that conveyor belt experience, but maybe you don't have a TC and you're relying on the agent to have this, to create the experience. As the admin, as the team owner, you can create templates that almost dummy proof the experience, or you can even, it's even mobile friendly, right? You can do it from your phone and start it wherever you are in the transaction experience to where it's step by step before you submit to review to the admin, before it goes to the broker. I can't even get to the next step without having completed the first step that you created for me. So you actually create that experience and every team owner, every team lead, every broker is different. And also by association, MLSs, man, we're talking about Omaha with you, but there's just so many across the country that have different rules and regulations. And so that varies. And so ideally it's the same person. I love your idea of the dedicating a certain group. Just because you know what to expect, and maybe that personality type works better, and you just get the at the end, the result is the customer's getting taken care of. Yeah. And so that's 100%. Just something you tweak personally. But I like that I like that that's a potential problem for you, and not many people get there yet.
It's a good problem to have, right? I have 27 admin. What part of the transaction should they be responsible for? I want to hammer home a point you made that I think is so awesome from a control standpoint behind the Dotloop product. And that is, to the point you made, Orlando, one can create expectations as to what has to be turned in on the file before they can submit for final review and before they can get paid a commission. So one example of that would be like an affiliated business arrangement disclosure or an estimated cost sheet or any type of addendums that you want to make sure all your agents turn in. That's literally a step-by-step. So ABC happens. EFG can't until ABC has been approved, and then it moves to the next step, and then it moves to the next step. So you get to play God, so to speak, in terms of how you want that paperwork process to go. So even if you are a new team and you have 5 agents and they're doing all their own paperwork, you can control that process. When you move into the admin world and you start managing admin, now you can hold them accountable to the best processes that you have inside the organization. So how does somebody take advantage of a huge discount that Elite Real Estate Systems and the Team Building Podcast has been able to agree to with Dotloop, since you were the founder? How can we take advantage of that? If somebody is not on the Dotloop for Teams product right now, maybe they're just on the traditional Dotloop product and they want to upgrade to take advantage of all the broker services that are offered. What does that cost? And then how do they make sure that they can take advantage of the discount?
Yeah, to take advantage of the discount, if you're listening today, just if you go to dotloop.com and look for search for request a demo. When you request a demo, you're going to speak to a business consultant on your site that's going to give you a 15-minute demo of what the product is. Make sure that you mention at that time that you heard that this particular discount from the Team Building Summit, from the ERS, from your podcast, and you'll be able to get that discount no matter when. So it doesn't matter.
So you can reference Elite Real Estate Systems, Jeff Cohn, or the Team Building Podcast. You guys are going to get hooked up. Also, we want to make sure we invite anyone and everyone listening to the podcast to attend one of our upcoming workshops. The summit is a great event where we bring tons of different subject matter experts in from all across the country, across different industries. And we have a lot in store for the future of Elite Real Estate Systems. And I'm not going to share it today, but there's some exciting updates as to the different industries we will coach in that are real estate specific. As of now, it's individual agents, team leaders, broker owners coming, investors, but the list is going to go on and on and on. With that said, our workshops are catered towards team leaders and broker owners. So if you're someone aspiring to build a team and or a brokerage, you come here and it's a 2-day crash course on the exact steps we took to go from 70 to 700 sides. I will give you 100% of your money back if you come here and you tell me that it wasn't worth the trip. Just like the zero basing the admin expense through a broker fee strategy, that one strategy generates $400,000 a year net into my bottom line. There's so many more of those nuggets that you're going to get from the workshop. So for more information about upcoming events, we have one coming up in September 2021. I think we have 2 or 3 more this year. Go out to eliterealestatesystems.com. Click on events. You'll see all the upcoming events. I'm trying to get Orlando to come. A lot of times there's some surprise guests. You're here. You're doing it.
Yeah,
you're
we're going to do it.
He just committed publicly. He's going to be here. We're going to have an awesome following. I think we'll have about 50 or 60 people. We are in our $1.5 million, 10,000 square foot hybrid tech powered office of the future. Yes, we fly the KW flag here. It's okay. We're agnostic. We had to choose a brokerage. We didn't want Indy. Keller Williams is awesome, but this is not a Keller Williams sales pitch. If you do want to join, I'd love to be your sponsor. But it's not about Keller Williams. It's about abundance and sharing and helping people become the best versions of themselves, taking back something special and unique that works here, that will work in your market, and taking your business to the next level. So I'd like to invite everyone to come attend that and get to meet Orlando in person, in the flesh.
Looking forward to it.
It'd be awesome. So in closing, Orlando, I know we talked about a lot before we jumped on the show, and I made a joke to Orlando. We should have just recorded that for the last 30 minutes. You see all these teams. You've opened up over 100 market centers. These are brokerages inside the Keller Williams world. You now work with hundreds of real estate teams. You've worked with thousands of real estate agents. You get around. What are a few small, simple strategies that you believe people that perform at a high level are consistently implementing into their business each and every day to help them grow, that you think some of us maybe already even know, but we just take for granted?
I mean, the simplest one is whatever partner you choose to work with, invest the time to train and coach to it. Don't assume it's not going to happen on its own. So the systems and models you set in place, make sure you hold yourself accountable to actually use and use what you're paying for.
That's really good advice.
It's so important, right? And this, whatever you choose, make sure it's scalable, make sure it's reputable, make sure that not the consumer experience, not just yourself, but the buyer seller, that their experience is going to be a positive one, and that it's mobile friendly, man. The future of technology is mobile, right? So virtual. All these things you're taking into consideration, and then just retention rate. Look at those retentions. See how quickly the company you're working with is growing with you, right? And so making sure scalability is so important. And the foundation, I'd go back to foundation immediately. You got to set the right systems and model in place. So if you need to replace your admin, that next person can jump in and they're ready to go because your models in place are set and your experience is there, man. I love that. You be ready.
There's a quote I always say: inspect what you expect. The challenge is a lot of us don't know what we expect because we play life in defense mode versus offense mode. And what you build has to be based on where you want to go, not where you are today. And the challenge of life, and what I've experienced, I know you've experienced this, and big companies always have this problem, is we are going to go 10 times further than where we think we want to go. So everyone just take a moment with that one. We are building the foundation. We're smart and we're well read and we're well listened. We mastermind. We do all these things perfectly. So I'm planning for the future and I know exactly where I think I'm going to go. And then I get there, and I can speak from experience now. And then I get there and go, holy cow, it wasn't big enough. What I built to prepare for this isn't big enough. And so one's willingness to adapt and change and feel the pain and take steps backwards to go forwards, I think, is a game changer. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to stay in the comfort zone. And congratulations to you. My hat's off. You'll stay in the same exact place you were last year if you stay in that comfort zone, and you might be okay with that. And I think that's awesome for people that have arrived.
Yep.
For me, I feel like I don't want to arrive. I want to constantly be pushing and growing because I know the more I grow, the more I can help others grow around me. And that's where I get my greatest satisfaction. I know you feel the same.
Oh, 100%. You see that from the leaders, like at your particular conference. Someone's at a different place at a different level, and they don't realize their potential until they hear something. And when they hear someone else's problem is trying to get fixed, they're like, oh, that's a possibility. To me, that's like a goal. That should be a mark, like, oh, I want to get to that place. And so when your role's not big enough, you find it right? And so we recognize that as a partner as well. And guess what? We have failed forward too. Like we said,
sure.
oh, we could do this, and we couldn't, but we can today. So we're going to make it happen with you. And so we're willing to grow big with you as well. And that's exciting when you see that level of success and happiness, and how you give back. I mean, it goes beyond bigger than real estate.
It reminds me. We'll go back to with Jeff Conan as an agent. Were you an agent too, Orlando?
Not licensed for a long time, and then became one, mostly for referrals, because I'm in the tech world side. Yeah.
Nice. So as an agent, I probably listed a couple hundred houses, and every time I went on a listing presentation, I told everyone I met with that I believed through my systems and processes, they'd make the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. However, there would be hassle. However, there would be challenges. There'd be stressful moments. We'd make mistakes. I said, there will be things wrong with the listing. You're not going to like some of the pictures. I set a realistic expectation. So ladies and gentlemen, one strategy to highly successful people is people that set realistic expectations, under promise, over deliver. Guess what? It's okay. People don't ask for perfection. They ask for transparency.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, what you just said applies to Dotloop, and remove the Jeff Combs story, and we fall into those categories ourselves, and that's what we want to create. Just make things more efficient for you. But I love it. I like that.
All right. So how do we get in touch with Orlando if somebody needs something?
Absolutely. My personal email address is orlandor@dotloop.com. It's orlandor@dotloop.com. Easiest way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. I love that at the end you were being nice. You said it Orlando. So I thought it was Orlando for a long time. He said it that way to remember it. Orlando R. It's Orlando.
Orlando. Hey, if I say Orlando, they don't know what I'm saying. So I have to say Orlando R.
Orlando.
People will ask me,
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the guests that come on the show. Nobody gets paid for this. There's no perk. I mean, obviously you can help. You're helping Dotloop, but they don't tell him he has to do this for his job. And it's really out of an abundant mindset. I know Orlando well. We've spent a lot of time together, and he cares a lot about his clients, probably too much. You guys don't deserve it. But he wants to help your business. He wants to take it to the next level. He believes his products can do it. If you don't already have the Dotloop for Team product, jump into it. I promise you will not. It will not disappoint. Give it some time. How long is the contract? Is there even a contract? Month to month, probably, or
month to month for an individual agent, but it's a yearly contract for teams.
So it's a 1-year commitment, but they give you all the support you need to your point, learn how to implement it, because that is a big dysfunction with technology. Agents don't adapt to it. Why? Because the broker didn't provide a solution to train it. They didn't hold someone accountable to it. They didn't share success stories of the benefits people got from using it. So it is our responsibility to make sure people plug into it, and it will make a big difference to your businesses. So thank you again, Orlando, for coming on the show. I'd be remiss if I didn't invite everyone to give Orlando a shout out, send him an email, thank him for being on the show. Also, we would love more reviews. Our goal is to get to over 1,000 reviews on iTunes by the end of the year. If you just search the show on your phone under podcast and find the Team Building Podcast and scroll down, you'll see the 5-star review. Click 5 stars, please. And then write something, a big takeaway, a golden nugget, the feeling you get when you listen to these episodes, something that's changed in your business. The more people that review, the more people will find it on search, and it'll help impact and influence other people's lives. So the best way you could show me a compliment is to come to one of our events. The second best way would be to go in and review the episode, give a shout out to whoever you heard speak on that particular episode. Orlando, thank you, sir. Appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks for having us.
All right, have a good one.